Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about the rules light problem in tabletop role-playing games today. So we have a rules light problem, and that problem is there are not a lot of freestanding rules light systems that are successful and functional and available, right? And there's a whole bunch of, and there's some other small problems that are attached to rules light systems. So let's start talking about this. Okay, so first, one of the things is the tabletop role-playing game industry as a whole has a major problem producing rules light systems. One of the issues we're seeing right now, Pathfinder 2E is coming out. Pathfinder 1E was 500 pages long, okay? Pathfinder 2E will be 640 pages long. That is immense. The NIV Bible is 1,120 pages. So essentially, like, I think his name is Jason Bowman, like the designer for Pathfinder, was like, I need more than half of the space it took to write the Bible. Like, I'm like, what? Dude, man, I'm not sure your game warrants that, right? It's just a lot of pages, right? And here's my issue, right? Like, you're trying to spread this game and you want to bring this game to new people, right? Who are the people in your life who want you to put a 640-page book in front of them and that is going to create excitement? We all have a few of those people, but they are certainly fewer in number than people will be like, oh, I'd love to play your 50-page rules light system, right? The longer the pages are on your game, the less people are going to be likely to play it. This is a fact. I mean, we've seen this, right? There's just no two ways about it, right? So I think that's a serious problem. All right, what else do we have as far as a rules light issue? Well, one of the reasons why we're talking today is I was watching a YouTube. I was listening to a podcast. It is the parenting podcast for Slate Podcasts, and there's a gentleman by the name of Gabriel Roth. And he gave a story about a success he had as a parent by running the children's tabletop role-playing game, No Thank You Evil, which is created by Monty Cook Games and was specifically created by Shauna Germain, right, who is co-owner of Monty Cook Games. All right, so all that's in there, right? Now, basically, the way Gabriel Roth found himself running that game for his elementary age daughter and her friends was his daughter said to him, what is Dungeons & Dragons? He had played Dungeons & Dragons in his youth and then fallen away from the game, and so he was able to tell her what Dungeons & Dragons was, and when he told her, she was like, bet, I want to slay some dragons, let's play Dungeons & Dragons. Now, he's got an elementary age daughter, okay? Now, he was 100% right. You can't drop 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons or any other, or 1E or 2E or 3E or 4E or 5E. You cannot have elementary age girls playing, elementary age students of any gender. You cannot have elementary age students playing Dungeons & Dragons. And the reason why is the PHB is 250 pages long, right? If you plop that down in front of an elementary age student, you're going to send a lot of kids away, and it's just not fair to them. And really, Dungeons & Dragons, this is a sad point, has absolutely no strong on-ramp for children. None. Zero, okay? So, the reason he ended up with No Thank You Evil is because D&D doesn't actually have an option for elementary age students, right? And 5e certainly is not it, right? All right, so basically, Gabriel Roth then prepared this adventure for his daughter. Well, Gabriel Roth is a author with an agent. He is the audio editorial director for Slate magazine, which is an international magazine. It is a large scale business with millions of dollars of business. Gabriel Roth is an incredibly intelligent man. He is a dyed-in-the-wool intellectual. He is a knowledge worker, right? And he walked away from No Thank You Evil saying, I struggled to run this game for the children, right? And I was like, what? Right? Now, I don't think this is the problem of Shauna Germain. The issue that we have is a dyed-in-the-wool intellectual struggled to run a child's game, right? Now, the reason why that happened, in my opinion, is tabletop role-playing games overall have an absolutely immense tabletop role-playing game designers, game masters, and players at the macro level have a level of tolerance for complexity that is so high that they don't actually know what simple is. They think they do, right? And I think that what happened with No Thank You Evil is the same thing that happened with Shadowrun Anarchy, is the same thing that happened with Index Card RPG. These are all games that were designed to be rules light, but they're not actually rules light at all. They are rules less, right? And that's just it. Like, so No Thank You Evil turned out to be too difficult, right? For a dyed-in-the-wool intellectual knowledge worker to run without significant struggle, right? Then, in addition to that, Shadowrun Anarchy was supposed to be the rules-light version of Shadowrun. It is 200 pages long. Index Card RPG is a beautiful attempt to do rules light. It's one of my favorite games. It's actually my #1 game right now. I absolutely love Index Card RPG by Runehammer Games. But that game is also 250 pages long, right? That any game that's 200 plus pages is not rules light. It's rules less, and it probably has way more complexity than the designers actually intended. And the reason why is we, as tabletop role-playing gamers, we just have this ridiculous tolerance for complexity, so high that I think it's damaging to the hobby overall, right? So the reality is, and there's this harsh reality that Dungeons & Dragons has absolutely no Rules Light Edition. And by the way, the box sets are not Rules Light Edition. Those are limited scope products. That is a difference between a Rules Light Edition. Now, with this problem, how do we fix it, right? Well, there are a few creators who are out there who have successfully created Rules Light games. I'll list them. World of Dungeons by John Harper, The Black Hack, Fate Accelerated by Evil Hat Games, Maze Rats by Questing Beasts. These are all 50 pages or less. And that is, to me, that's the new rule. We need to start identifying this. If you have a game that is 51 pages or more, you are not Rules Light. Rules Light has already been done by these games, right? World of Dungeons, Black Hack, Fate Accelerated, Maze Rats. These are actual real games that have done fully fledged, fully functional, fully successful rules like games in 50 pages or less. Now that we've acknowledged who's doing it right, we have to acknowledge another problem of rules like games. They don't sell, right? So that's just it. It is incredibly difficult. Like, Dungeons & Dragons struggles to have a successful product, right? They have to answer to a global corporation, Hasbro, right? And they are sitting right next to Magic the Gathering, which is bringing more money in with a single set, right? I would bet that a single set, they release 3 sets a year for Magic the Gathering. I would bet a smile and a hug that that one set makes considerably more than Dungeons & Dragons makes the entire year, right? So like that, so Dungeons & Dragons struggles to make money, right? That is a full-blown game that can command $50 a book, right? Well, when you have a 50-page rule book, right, what does Evil Hat do with that, right? Well, if you buy the printed version of Fate Accelerated, it costs $5, right? It is very, very hard to make money on rules-like games. So, and it's one of these things where, to me, the hobby is incredibly benefited by rules-like games because it brings in people who don't want to read 200-page books. And there are wonderful, awesome, beautiful, creative, smart, intelligent people that we should have in the hobby, but we're never going to get them there with 200-page rule books, right? And I really think, these rules-like games, we should be more accepting of them. So as a community, we should be more accepting of them. And we have to realize when people are doing rules-like projects, those are going to make commercially less money, but that doesn't mean that we should support them any less. In fact, in my opinion, I think we really, as a community, should start thinking about supporting them more, right? So I think we have a rules light tabletop role-playing game problem. That was my solution. I'm not 100% certain that I've nailed that. This is a problem that the whole community has been dealing with and the industry has been dealing with it for a long, long time. I'd love to hear, do you have any solutions? How do we fix this problem, right? And I'm even willing to hear you if you think it's not a problem, which I think a lot of tabletop role-playing game people are like, oh, keep it the way it is. I don't like that we have 10, like the D&D community is 10 million people. We know this, right? We know it from numbers that came out for 2018. And actually it's 9 million, right? That was adding a million there. And it should be 90 million or 100 million. It should be literally tenfold what it currently is. And I think this rules light thing is the path to get there. But we know for a fact companies just don't make that much on rules light systems. That's my take on the rules light problem. I'd love to hear your opinion. Please let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.